So I want to give a shout out to Conor McGregor because I think there's something all of us can learn from what Conor just did this last week that is very, very, very difficult to do. Very difficult to do, and Conor did it. Let me explain to you what it is. I am right now in Miami. Real nice here. We got a couple business things we got to do, but let me get right into my message with Conor. So Conor fights Cowboy Cerrone this past week. Commanding win, 40 seconds. I'm a fan of Cowboy, but Conor came out, it was done deal, and right off the bat with the shoulder thing that he did, a bunch of memes, Snoop Dogg had the best meme, all these things go crazy, and everyone's talking Conor McGregor, but people are not paying attention to the biggest thing. Let me explain to us the biggest thing. Here's a guy that went from zero to made $110 million in a year in 2018. Then he comes out with a brand called Proper 12 that's now a UFC MMA sponsor, and he's taking pictures with it. And everybody around the world is buying this Proper 12 now, whiskey. He's killing it. He's on top of the world. Every talk show wants him. Every TV show wants him. Everybody wants him to do a cameo. Everybody wants him to say a couple words. Every ESPN show, everybody wants this guy. 20, 30 million followers, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of these people. And he still shows up to win the fight. Still shows up to win the fight. And in the post-game interview, I'm more of a fan of a post-game interview than the fight. Matter of fact, the post-game interview was better than the fight. Let me explain to you why. In the post-game interview, the guy asked him a question. He says, so, where are you at right now? What happened with the last fight against Khabib? What would you say about what happened with your last fight in Khabib? He says, I disrespected my team with the last fight with Khabib. What do you mean you disrespected? Here's what I mean by I disrespected. He says, my training camp, everybody that I had hired, I'd go in and train for an hour, they wouldn't see me for 3 days. These are people that are trying to prepare me to win and go up against Khabib that's undefeated, and I disrespected them. I disrespected my training camp. What do you mean you disrespected your training camp? You're worth $100 million. The people you're hiring to work with you, they're not worth that kind of money. This guy's publicly saying I insulted my team. Who wouldn't want to work with a guy like this at this phase, right? But the biggest thing that's so obvious to take away from this guy's fight is to know that you have this level of victory, you're on top of the world, you have money in the bank, you got the cars, everybody around the world knows who you are, and you still come and put on a show, and you still want to come back up, whether it's fighting Usman, whether it's Masvidal, whether it's Kobe Covington, you're coming up to want to fight those guys after you got paid more money than every MMA fighter combined. You got paid more money than all these guys combined pretty much, and you still are that hungry. Here's a question for you. To those of you guys that are winning and starting to make money, you know what's the first thing that goes when you make money? Training, discipline, gratitude, reading, improving, getting better, blind spots, all of that goes. All of those become your blind spots because you think you're on top of the world. You think you're invincible. I watch a documentary with Aaron Hernandez. In the documentary, Bill Belichick, they show a clip of him talking to his team. He says, all it takes is one mistake. One mistake can cost us a championship. One mistake will cost us a championship. All it takes is one mistake. When you're coming up, I'm not talking about calls, all this other stuff. But when you get to the top and you start experiencing some success, oh, Pat, let me tell you, I'm going to make $1 million a year income. I'm going to build the next $1 billion company. I'm going to build the next $10 million company. And you're making $100,000 a year right now. You don't even know what it is to handle a $500,000 a year income. What are you going to do when you can make $500,000 a year income? You can go to any restaurant, any place, drive a nice car, live in a nice place. And what are you going to do to get out of bed when you're making $1 million a year income, or $2 million, or $5 million, or $10 million a year income, or $108 million a year? How do you get out of bed? That's what Conor did. That's why I respect a guy like that. That after he made the $100 million, after he's got Proper 12, after all these accolades, after being well-known worldwide, he still comes out the gate and shows a fight. Now, no one knows what he's going to do next. For all I know is he can go and throw another thing through a bus and fight another person and get arrested and get 6 to 12 months. But I respect the fact that he sounds like he's being very transparent with the mistakes he's made, that he wants to move. Something all of us can learn from. It just so happens Conor was able to do it recently with a big victory, public victory, and a very humble way of him taking it. And we'll see what's going to happen next. But I think everybody can learn from that, because when money comes, when success comes, when fame comes, that's when our character really gets tested. Having said that, hope you have a killer week this week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.